10 NFL seasons, playoffs, baby. He got the playoffs and beat Brady and Manning. Fox Sports.
Thailand, huh?
You were the quarterback for the Jets' last playoff win. I remember him well. You know what game always sticks out to me, and this is so random. It's not the Brady Mannings. It's coming out to San Diego in the fog.
Oh, that was fun.
And it was low score. I don't know why that game. Remember how foggy it was?
It was really foggy before the game. But you know what was interesting? That grass, that field, like everything there smelled exactly like the Coliseum when we went out on the field for pregame.
Yeah.
And early outs and all that, and shorts and T-shirts. And then on the loudspeaker, I hear testing, 1, 2, 3, San Diego Chargers. It's the same announcer from SC, from the Coliseum. I'm like, boys, we are good. We're winning today. You know, like it just gave me
and you did.
little juice.
Yeah.
It was fun. That was nice.
So, listen, that's about as good as I've ever seen Dak. Now,
Whoa,
now tell
efficient.
me this. When things go well, they say in basketball, guy gets in his zone.
Streaky, yeah.
So when I watched Dak last night, I was like, boy, he's moving. I love that when he moved left, he kept holding.
Mm-hmm.
Is it zone? Is it scheme? Is it like, why do quarterbacks get super hot for 3 hours?
I think some of it, like even when you watch that first touchdown pass, he knew the exact coverage. They had two seams kind of working up, both sides putting the middle safety in conflict, and he went longer than normal to the left. I'm throwing left with like two resets, and you see the safety in the middle of the field is just watching his eyes the whole way. And he's almost like resetting left to throw right, which is weird, but you could tell he just anticipated everything. He had answers for everything. He had a contingency plan. This is what we're expecting. If we don't get that, I'm going here with the football.
Okay.
And most of the time, it seemed like it was what he expected. Anything else, he was on such a hot streak that when he did roll out to his left and is backpedaling, ready to throw it away, he's so hot, it's like, oh, give me one more look. You know what I mean? And you could tell he was just in a groove where you're like, I ain't going to miss today, so just keep dialing him up.
I thought the back of the end zone throw.
Oof.
That's
that was
when
pretty.
You're hot.
That was pretty.
That's like a fall-away jumper.
Oh, yeah.
When you're that throw could not have been too...
Stroking the ball. It was awesome.
So when you get hot, like Dak was really in a groove, are you more prone to say, Mike, I want to do something?
I think it's more of you get in this flow state almost, and things are happening a little slower. You feel like you're in control and you're anticipating so well, whether it's the Rose Bowl game or one of those playoff games where you're just like, it's exactly what I expected. Here comes the guy on his break. There's the window. Boom. And you, bam, ball's there. All right, dial it up. And you're kind of looking at the coordinator like, let's go. We got it today, baby. Let's go, Sark. Let's go, Shoddy. Come on.
Let's go.
Keep them coming.
Right.
Keep them coming. Dial them up, and you're hot, so you don't want it to end. It's awesome.
So we were talking about this earlier that Jeremy Lin, you may have been in New York.
I remember. He
took the league
Lin
over for 3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And there are these moments in time. Who was the guy you were talking about? J-Mac, the Yankee?
Kevin Moss.
I remember the name. So guys come into baseball, football, and for 3 weeks they play out of their mind, and then they have like semi-redeemable careers or disappear. So you look at Brock Purdy, and you know college football pretty well. The one thing that jumps out to me is Iowa State literally plummeted when he left. And it's like, are we looking at like a great player? Because Iowa State's got a good coach. How much of this is lightning in a bottle? Or do you see stuff, Mark, with his feet that you're like, this will stick?
No, I think his mechanics are solid. I think some of the throws he'll fall off a little bit on, and he loses a little velocity on. I still think, some of his deep balls could be a little bit better. He was definitely better this past game. But it's so hard to judge a guy like that based on the team, right? Like we saw Tua last year and versus this year with different wideouts, different personnel. It's so hard to put a stamp on it. Like, is this it forever? Is this sustainable? Is this, can he keep this going? And so every week you're kind of, at least I am, watching and holding my breath like, oh, is he still going to do it? Or is he going to come back down to earth? Or is this really who he is? And so I think we just need a bigger sample size for a guy like that. But it's been fun to watch. And his emotions and stuff, like after the play,
into it.
He's so calm. And then it like just explodes, like a stick of dynamite or something. This dude's just waiting. Boom, the big play happens. And you see him pumping his fists and riling the guys up, and they love it. The guys gravitate towards the guy. So you can tell he's got it. He's got some moxie. He's got whatever it takes to grab their attention, or else you ain't fooling the dudes on that team. Like, that team is full of alphas, and this dude stepped in, and now he's the guy and owning it and grabbing the reins and the whole deal. That is more impressive to me sometimes than some of the throws and the execution on the field.
Well, by the way,
his demeanor.
Go back to your career. You had a great defense, a great run game, an experienced head coach, a very good left tackle, and very similar.
Yep.
It was a quarterback situation where they didn't ask you to carry the team, but they did ask you about 3 times a game to make a throw.
Oh, no doubt. And those windows are tight because you're going run, pass on a lot of those.
Right.
And it's 3rd and 10, it's 3rd and 12. So, those are big third down conversions. It feels like 4 completions in one because they're so tough.
So we were watching the Chargers game at our 900 club out in Manhattan Beach. J-Mac and I were. And the first half, I was sitting there, and I'm like, I felt so bad for Trevor Lawrence.
I know.
And then I thought to myself, you only get about 5 minutes in the room at halftime. And Doug's a really good coach. But I thought, God, Doug's got to bring him down. And I've met Trevor one time, and I said this when I met him. He's such an he's such an adult. I was in an area where there were a bunch of people staring at him. He's just really a grown-up in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, when I watched the second half, I'm like, boy, that personality helps. Have you ever had a game where you went into half and you had to forget the first half?
I mean, I want to say Buffalo at home my rookie year. I'm almost positive. I threw 5 interceptions. We rushed for like 200 yards and almost won the game in overtime with 5 picks. And it's almost, mathematically, it's almost impossible. Like, the winning percentage was like 968 or whatever it was the other night for the Chargers. Like, There's no way this team's coming back. You see the graph, when you check your phone about the games and stuff, and it's like, win percentage through the roof. So I remember being in that football game, and the craziest thing is, like, the first one was a tip ball. So, like, the most important thing I think for a quarterback is you got to get to the truth immediately. Because people say, like, well, you got to have amnesia and just forget about it. Well, not necessarily true. You got to get to the truth of it, put it in its place, and then move on, right? And if you need the 30 seconds or 20 seconds or whatever to get a good yell out or, scream in your helmet and just, whatever you have to get it out. And then, okay, what happened? Bad read, bad throw, really good defensive play. Generally not a really good defensive play. Like, those happen rarely, right? Where a guy just makes a one-handed catch and whatever. But usually you probably underthrew it. Or you just forced the ball that wasn't the right read. There's another guy standing there wide open. Or a better option. Or throw it away, take a sack, whatever. So you have to categorize them immediately, I feel like. And then this is going to sound crazy, but if you've thrown 4, you can't be scared to throw 5. And that's how you have to attack the rest of the game. He totally did it, and that is not easy because you got to flip it in your head.
Right.
And you got to flip it to the point where you're almost convincing yourself because everybody else is watching. As soon as you go in the tank, it's curtains for the whole team. Like, you can't even afford to let that happen because everybody's watching you. You're the guy. You know what I mean? They walk in the room, and you're head and shoulders, like, above everybody else. Everybody knows that's our quarterback. And he acted like it in a really, really tough situation where a lot of guys would have folded up like a cheap suit.
Yeah. The over the course of, I was always a Lamar Jackson fan, so I doubted him out of college.
Yeah, are you saying Lamar to the Jets?
No, but it's interesting. So out of college, I didn't buy it, and then he came in week 11, rookie year. I think he went 6-1. Next year, you watch him, and you're like, it's not pretty, but I went and watched him live. So I went. I think it was Chargers game or something. I want to go see him
at the Coliseum.
No, it was at the tiny place, the soccer stadium down in Carson.
Okay. Yeah.
I wanted to see him live. I wanted to see him. He made a great throw to Mark Andrews. He made a lot of those throws. And then they played him again that year, and the Chargers beat him second time around. And I knew some people on the Chargers, and the feeling was the first time you face him, he's way faster and way better than you think, and then you get a read on him.
Yep.
But I like him because he wins a lot of games. And I've always been a fan of his leadership, intangibles. But there's a Kawhi Leonard thing going on I don't like. He's nonverbal. The communication spotty. I want my quarterback of all positions talk, be up front.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of, he didn't go to the Cincinnati game. Isn't that odd?
That was a little strange. I mean, I would have thought he would be up in the booth.
Right.
Like,
now, is there inflammation on the knee? He doesn't want to travel.
I guess. I mean, obviously for a flight, like you throw the game ready on it, the ice compression sleeve and stuff.
You're a former quarterback. What does it look like to you?
That's strange because you feel like it's your family, like you're leaving your boys. Like those are, I don't know. It just feels.
Yeah, your guys.
It feels weird. And I just, for their sake, I think you can kind of lose that locker room if you don't sign this guy back. Like if things don't come together properly for both sides, I think could be detrimental. And I mean, his offensive coordinator, Coach Roman's done a really good job with him, So
no question.
These free agent things, it's always interesting because you go to a new system, you go somewhere else, and people try and piecemeal some plays for you, and you don't look the same because the environment's different, the way the coaching is different, and maybe not better or worse, but just different.
Yeah, good point.
And the result becomes different, and now you're like, maybe this guy's not so good. Maybe we overpaid for this guy. Maybe. And so I don't know, but then I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth, but on the other hand, it's Lamar Jackson.
Well, he wins 75% of his starts.
Just give him the damn ball and let him do what he does. He's amazing. So, it's so weird. It's so weird to see him, to think about him not being a Raven. Just think about him being in a Jets uniform. It just seems odd to me.
He fits culturally. So it's a run first, physical, I don't know. I just feel like
he doesn't have that personality where he's very mild mannered. He's very quiet.
But Baltimore is a defensive culture. The quarterbacks have never been big talkers.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, everybody has their own style. Some guys are fiery. Like Phillip Rivers. Some guys are Peyton Manning and above it all and just really sharp. And and other guys are like Lamar. I mean, Joe Flacco was very, stoic and. I don't know. There's just a fine line between stoic and apathetic. You don't want to look like you don't want to be there.
Right.
But he loves it. You can tell he loves it. So I don't want to see him anywhere else. That's just weird to me.
Yeah.
I think.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.